Hi, everyone. It's Sarah Shuey, the founder and CEO of Happily, which is the largest network of freelance live and virtual event specialists in the United States. And today we are going to be talking about public speaking. Really, truly, everyone has become a public speaker these days. Every time you're on Zoom, or if you have any kind of knowledge or wisdom to share, and let me tell you that you and everybody around you does have something really important to say. And now is the perfect time to be sharing that and telling everybody, and teaching everyone what you know and sharing those skills. So we're all in this place where we're all all of a sudden become public speakers. And if you're anything like me, it's really nerve-wracking. It's not something that comes really naturally. I hate hearing the sound of my voice. I say too much. I say too much. I don't know what to tell you other than Eric Han, our guest today, Eric Han Obotetukudo, who is an amazing name. And actually, she has a TED Talk about the power of your name, is going to join me today to talk about public speaking. So Eric Han, hi.
Howdy. Hello, everybody. So excited to be here. Thanks, Sarah.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for just really coming and showing up and you reached out to me and said hey, I really have something to say and I want to share that, with your community. And I appreciated that, taking the time and the initiative to do that, because I think it's really important, and it's a really brave thing to do. So thank you so much. I'm just really so happy that you're here, and thank you for coming to my cyber wedding too. That was so much fun. You're part of
my great. If anyone has not experienced a Sarah event from Sarah, I definitely felt like the wedding was a testament to the thoughtfulness and energy and just openness of what comes from your creative genius. So it was really a good time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. That was amazing that you came through like that. I really appreciate it. But tell us a little bit more about your TED Talk and the story behind that. I'd love to know.
Cool. Yeah. Excited to share. It was a really intense experience, actually, so I'm happy to give the story on it. But essentially, I think like many of us, I consume, especially back in the day, consumed a lot of TED Talks and thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool? No way. I could never do that. And then a friend had mentioned that he was going to do a TED Talk at one point, or at least audition for it. And I was just like, how does that work? So I essentially I went onto TED's website, found out that they rarely sort of open up TED experiences for folks to kind of sign up, but they had a unique experience where they had an idea search. So essentially they were hosting one of the first idea searches in West Africa, where my family is from. And I signed up to essentially share my story to hopefully see how my TED Talk could be widely distributed across TED. So that's essentially how the opportunity came about. For many others, it's invitation only, and I'm sure, Sarah, you can sort of confirm the process there. But this was a unique opportunity where TED said, you know what, we recognize there are limitations to our ability to find the best voices and stories and talent. So we're going to create a unique sort of micro TED conference experience. And in this case, in particularly unique parts of the world, to find those unique voices. So I essentially put in my audition video that no one will ever see.
But I mean, I think it's great. Actually, Kelly Stetzel and Sean Gannett, who are really good friends of mine that I built TED Active with, were really driving behind the TED live auditions, and they went country to country. It was nuts, actually. So that is just so cool. I'm sure that they will be really excited when they watch this to know that you were one of those people who auditioned. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and one few other little points there. So so you just submitted a form. I submitted a form, and then heard back within a few weeks that I was invited to essentially present a TED Talk in Lagos, Nigeria. The first time that TED had ever done a TED branded event in this part of the world. So it was important for me. TED versus TEDx. Cool. Never mind.
No, just to clarify, TED did do something in Africa, like I think in 2005.
In Nigeria?
Maybe not in Nigeria. I can't remember where exactly they're at.
TED Global in Tanzania.
No, it was because it was before my time, so I can't remember. I don't know all the details of it, but it was like 2005. Yeah.
Cool. So nevertheless, it was a really exciting opportunity for me to return to my ancestral homeland and share an important message about what my experience was like bearing my Nigerian name in American culture, American society, but knowing very, very well that I actually come from this part of the world, and having the opportunity to share that talk with that audience was sort of a life milestone for me. So the talk is essentially about the power that we all have in the names that we bear. It's especially resonant for folks who, regardless of where they are, find themselves being told that they have unique names or odd names or strange names or hard to pronounce names or names that are too long to spell, or and all those other sorts of things. It's kind of hopefully an anthem and a call to action for folks who just generally navigate the world with names that are unique and that are representative of their culture, to feel pride in that, and to feel and know that those names come from very powerful places on this planet that are equally contributing to the world that we live in today. And as a result, encouraging folks to feel pride in the names that they have and where they come from, and also what all of that leads in your own life and how you choose to show up in the world. So it was for me kind of reclaiming my own story and reclaiming the impact that I want to have on this world, and inspiring folks to say my name and honor it fully, because it comes from a very powerful legacy that I felt should always be honored when I honor myself and my name.
It's really beautiful. It's super inspiring. I mean, your talk really hit me to a core, and I'm certain that, like many people, I mean, you've inspired many people, not just from that talk, but just from that like point of view about yourself and the world, and empowered so many humans. I'd love to know like more about what you're up to now.
Yeah. So today, I'm someone who's naturally always working on various things. So I'm excited that TED experience actually inspired me to shoot an entire film around the experience of navigating multiple parts of the world, having multiple identities, and trying to figure out where you belong. So we're currently in post-production for a film around that, and I'm really excited about that. Additionally,
what's the name of the film?
Oh my God! No, we can't. I can't.
Oh, it's a bit secret. Okay.
Secret.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was just like, like you're talking about names, so.
I know. All of that will be released.
Why are you keeping it a secret?
Oh my gosh. We're still figuring out what the name will be. So
okay, because it's really special. Yeah.
Oh, right. No, I appreciate that. Thank you for inquiring and wanting to know more. So that's great. But I also co-founded an organization called KIN several years ago. And KIN initially started out as a global network of Black and African people around the world who are truly putting their life's work to solve some of the world's hardest problems. And several years later, we've now transformed that into a media and communications agency that helps tell the stories and build the brands of diverse leaders all over the world. And it's been an honor and joy to work with some prolific leaders in the finance industry, in the political industries, political communities globally, and really help them think about telling a story that not only resonates within their industry, but allows them to kind of connect with the masses more. So it's really a life dream to be able to work with certain people and help them bring their story out beyond also to just your career and your resume milestones. It's been great to help various leaders build their voice, strengthen their voice, and share that with everyone. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, and I also have to say, like, finance and politics, like, never, this is a really special time for leadership where everybody's really looking, at leadership and how people present themselves, and this, and all navigate through all of the stuff that's happening with coronavirus. So you must be pretty busy, I would imagine, and the challenge would be really hard too, actually.
Yeah.
Like, are you having like kind of conversations around sort of like leadership in the time of coronavirus, and how's that going?
Absolutely. So it's unique in that people who are in finance are oftentimes, finance in general is an industry that's very stealth, and you kind of are doing being public. There are various legal reasons why you aren't super visible in the world of finance, but also it's one where you constantly find very analytical, logical, practical, numbers-based people who may or may not be wordsmiths, who may or may not be people who articulate sort of emotions and experiences as effectively as maybe, say, folks who are more in marketing at a technology company, or who are in the community organizing space within sort of the nonprofit world. So folks who are, I call, on the front lines of finance, I think are uniquely positioned at this time in the world to really communicate what is happening with the global economy, what work are they doing, and what do they kind of see for us moving beyond this period in the world. So it's been interesting to work with various people to help them find their voice that they've never had to express, because that voice and that mouthpiece from various people around the world who are interacting with stocks, bonds, large assets, depreciating assets. It's really important for those people to be able to articulate what they're seeing in this time of crisis, but also significant change, and be able to communicate that effectively to their investors, communicate that effectively to common people, everyday people who are just trying to understand what is the future of the economy such that I can get my job back or go back to work, or are restaurants still going to be here in a year? How does that work? So I personally am driven to inspire more people who've been doing the work throughout their lives to start sharing more wisdom and sharing more practical stories for people to feel guided around. So gone are the days of you kind of just keeping your head down and doing the work. It's not going to cut it anymore. We need more leaders and more people who are using their voice to guide the millions of people or everywhere who just are looking for some direction and looking for insight. So there's a lot of great, diverse leaders out there who have amazing insights. So it's honestly just super fun to help people like get out of their heads and just start using their words.
Yeah, but it's like, it's really scary. I mean, I think like, at least like, cause I come from like a Asian culture, where like we try to be invisible,
Yeah.
And so a lot, right? Or also they're just, I think now there are more opportunities, but there's still not enough opportunities for, people who have been placed in the margin of society to feel comfortable or safe to speak their voice, right? And share their wisdom. How do you, and then you're adding that on top of just like fear of public speaking, like is just, no matter where you come from, everybody's scared of it. Like even people who are really great at it are scared of it, right? So like, I mean, where does this, let's tackle the fear part first, because that addresses everybody, like how, is there like a magic way to get over fear of public speaking?
I don't think there's a magical way, because, I'll spare everybody on the woo-woo talk, but I think the fear comes from so many different places. Like, to be very honest, I grew up struggling with public speaking, or just like speaking my mind honestly, because of, maybe being bullied at an earlier point in my lifetime. So there are various instances throughout your life where you feel silenced and where you feel like it's not going to be okay to maybe say something that either people don't connect with, don't relate with, maybe goes against the grain, all those various things. So all of that I just share that so people kind of acknowledge or are able to maybe I even identify why there's fear and where it comes from. Generally fear of rejection, like all of those different things are wrapped up and bundled in that fear. In terms of sort of breaking out of it and feeling some sort of relief from it, I will say that I have never experienced more paralyzing trepidation than I did for that TED Talk.
Like, sure. Oh my gosh. I did like a TED Talk kind of like once, like at my own conference. So I knew everybody. I knew like their names, where they were from, what they like to eat. Like I knew everybody in that room. You couldn't have been more prepared, you know, than I was. And my knees were knocking. Like actually, I didn't even know that was real. Like, but they were
your physical body just
starts shaking, right? Is that what happened to you?
Yeah. So I think for me, I just was definitely struggling with a lot of self-doubt. So I just was like, who am I to be, you know, and imposter syndrome. So who am I to be saying what I'm saying? I'm from this place, but like don't live here full time. So they're probably going to look at me as some like privileged American girl, like, you know, in terms of, delivering this message to the Nigerian community. So there were so many things in my mind that I was just grappling with, and a lot of it got in the way leading up to the talk in terms of getting in my head. But one thing that was really helpful for me was, and by the way, that particular case wasn't easy, but over time, it's become really helpful to just recognize that if I have whatever experience that I have, opinion that I have, perspective, feeling, it is likely that on this planet, at least one other person does. At least one. So it's helped me relax a lot more when I recognize that it's worth saying what I say and even the way I say it. So you mentioned earlier about likes and ums and ums. Somebody else speaks just like that too. And I'm sure there's a whole generation that does. So feel free, you know? So I think the biggest piece to overcome fear for me, and that I impart on everyone that's listening, is recognizing that experience, that thing, that ethos that you want to share is likely something that someone else is experiencing or has thought about. And by you saying it in whatever the format you say it, I think it's really important to get away from perfection and just recognize the format that you say it. I'm somebody who communicates a lot with my body and all those other things. I'm a dancer, so it's natural. However it's delivered, recognize or believe that one other person at the very least will connect. And that
I just had to show, yes, beautiful. I just show your TED audition talk because you do not look nervous at all. I was like pulling it up. I was like, there's no way. Like
the thing is, I'm talking super fast. First of all, I can't look at this talk, and I've probably watched it maybe a half time, and I've never shared it with my network.
Oh my God.
I'm like deeply, and like I've bombed talks before, like, you know. So I'm this as someone who really recognizes that, like, I didn't come out the womb like this, you know. So there was a lot of practice, and I remember I couldn't look at the TED Talk for a whole year.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, I was talking too fast. I was my body was all over the place. And I just was so critical.
But this is the thing, you know what? I think you're actually like, as you were talking and sharing, you know, just now, I was like, you know, I think one of the things that has helped me with my public speaking is like, I have become more like, I don't know, I think like I am one of the most critical people. That like I've met, and if you've met or worked with me, you know this. And it's kind of it helps me with my job because I'm like, no, I want this and not that, you know, when we're producing events and having that kind of level of like taste and opinion, right? But like when it comes to like actually like sort of presenting my own ideas or putting myself out there, it becomes even harder because I think I'm so critical on myself and on other people. And I found that the more that I let go of the negativity around criticism and I allow criticism to just be like, oh, well, this is actually like a useful tool for me within this context. And criticism is productive and generative when done correctly, right? So like I actually like think about, I think that perspective or that relationship that I've had to criticism and self-criticism has generated like a lot more confidence in presenting myself, but also confidence in receiving feedback, which is, at least for me, the thing I think that like gets deep in that fear is just like, what are people going to say about me, right?
Yeah. So totally. I would say for me, there's been two things that have helped me overcome my fear, and I still deal with it all the time. But one of them is like recognizing that swag is everything. Like swag is great. And for folks who aren't familiar with swagger, what persona, personality, charisma, charm, whatever you want to call it, but like it is mine. And it is not for, like, in terms of my delivery, I can choose to show up in this world how I want to. And like, that is enough. And I think that could feel like, whoa, you know, in this world of people pleasing, that could feel very, very contrarian. And I've just come to embrace at this point, given how much I put myself through of being overly critical of that TED Talk. It's just kind of like, cool, that's where I was in my life. That's what I said. That was the unique energy and passion that I wanted to contribute to that. The next time I do a talk, I can come with a different energy. I can come with a different swag if I want to. But at the end of the day, this is who I am. So if you, for example, give a talk and you find yourself, you know, saying some things that you really know in your heart of hearts is true to who you are, then like people who are if you're criticizing yourself, then you're doing a disservice to your own self because you're not letting yourself make space for who you really are. So like for me, I have to tell myself like chill on the critique if this is really me being my authentic self. And then second, do you need that criticism? Are these people, you have to have discernment around how much critique you internalize, essentially, is what I think is important. And I've found people who are stuttering, stammering, pacing back and forth, but what they're saying, the things that they're saying are so necessary, so important. So I believe very much in the law of attraction, and I think we get kind of confused and very anal in the public speaking sort of arena about perfection. And I think more people need to recognize that the message that you are communicating, the timing, the urgency, the emotion is what is important most of all. And when you do that, you will attract, or you will align with, or you will have this beautiful virtual connection with the person that just needed to hear it, probably even in the way that you did it, with the unique way that you delivered it, with the ums and the likes and the stutters and the stammering. Because if I hear somebody saying and like, I'm gonna hear, oh, they're like me. Oh, okay, cool. That person talks just like me. I'm not gonna think, oh God, they said like 3 times. Like, listen, that person needs to chill, okay? Whoever is counting your ums and likes to the death of you is just like, that person's of an old guard and doesn't recognize that is not the era that we're in. Don't get me wrong though, if you are in a particular position you have to read the room as well. So I think that's really important. So given that I work with sort of finance leaders and people who kind of have a different podium, there's a time and place for different types of communication styles. So I think that's the most important thing after you kind of stop judging yourself so harshly. So it's like, first, like, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, because at the end of the day, people can read that when you give yourself grace, and they can see when you're not. Mm-hmm. But then 2, read the room. So for the TED Talk, I flew all the way from New York City to Lagos, Nigeria. I was going to give that talk how I wanted to give it. That's amazing. Yeah. And I know there's the TED standard, and I wasn't interested in the TED standard. I wanted to give the talk the way I wanted to give it. So that was a choice that I made. But I recognize when I'm in rooms with various, say, fund managers who are presenting to raise various amounts of money, there's a different way to maintain who you are, but still communicate effectively to that audience that's in that room, because that's a particular environment. So I just say that at the end of the day, let yourself have your truth, and then decide how you want to sort of use the levers or kind of create some variation on top of that. But at the end of the day, you being your biggest critic is probably also holding you back the most from connecting with people and having an experience that really serves the purpose of you even opening your mouth, which is to connect and engage and exchange value with other people.
Yeah. And in these times of like physical sort of isolation, like the thing that is the most, I feel like, empowering and healing is being able to connect with others in that community. And so, I think that's really such beautiful and like smart, like wisdom and advice to share with folks. And like, do you have like, as we're closing out, like, do you have any like tips or something for just like the regular person who is like going on their next Zoom, or maybe like, they're working as an employee and they have to do like present in an all hands meeting, or maybe someone who is like out of work and now has to put themselves, out there for those two situations. Like, what are some really simple things that anyone can do immediately to improve, the way that they present themselves and speak publicly?
Yeah. So one thing I would definitely say is practice or write out whatever it is that you want to say. It could be writing out a voicemail that you're going to send to somebody that you're going to call to hope to give you a job. It could be writing out or recording in some way, shape, or form. So for me, I'm not huge on writing always what I'm going to say or writing my talks. I actually put it into my cell phone on the voice recorder, and I talk into my voice recorder so I can hear not only the sound, but also the combination of the words that I want to use. And then I play it back to myself, which can also be nerve-wracking, but letting yourself go through that exercise and then deciding, do I like how it sounded? Do I like what I said? What do I want to modify? And then continue to practice that. So that would be the very simplest thing. Record, be it write or record an audio note of whatever language you want to say. Listen to it, maybe even share it with others and say, do you think that this communicates? Do you think this expresses what you know to be my intention or desired result of this? If you're asking someone for feedback, get that feedback, do your own self-critique on that, and then continue to iterate and improve towards you until you feel like, okay, you know what? This version or iteration of this exercise, I feel good with. And the beautiful part of that is it enables you to go into virtual, in-person, whatever rooms that you're in, and just be like, I know I'm going to give my best because I've already practiced and tried my best. So when I go to give this, I can actually trust myself because I've practiced. I can trust myself. And at that point, give it your all and recognize that because of the practice and because of the effort you've already put to share your voice and share a message, to make an ask that might be hard to make, or to do something that is very outside of your comfort zone, at the end of the day, we're in such a heightened state of needed empathy that I think most people will get past the imperfections and recognize who you really are and what you're trying to say. So then always default to someone will likely understand and engage and walk in with that energy so that you can actually achieve that result.
Okay, amazing. So closing out, thank you so much, Erica. I'm so glad that you're here. I always end out with like a quick little game, and we'll go quick with this one. But I call it, what do I call it? I call it like bad search, good job. And what I've done is, your name is very special. Your full name is very special. However, there are both men and women that have your name.
You looked that up?
I'm sorry?
How did you know that?
Because I looked it up.
Wow, that's so sweet.
It's amazing, right? And so we have, so I have a photo of somebody who's also named Eric Han. Do you know this person?
Sarah, this is so sweet of you to do this. I do not know this person, but the fact that my name is multi-gendered is a very unique part of my culture.
It's wonderful. I was actually going to ask you about that. I was like, oh, wow, this is like really cool that like, it's like, yeah, multi-gendered, or it's have a gender really, which is amazing. So we play this game, and then what you're going to do is you are going to guess this guy is on LinkedIn, and I'd love for you to guess what his profession is and where he is at. And maybe, I don't know, like, I'm wondering if you can guess what his personal brand is all about based off of his photo.
Wow, this is so wonderful. I'm going to tell you off the record why this means a lot to me. Thank you, Sarah. So, all right. So I see Malcolm X in the background. I think I see a Nelson Mandela back there. Maybe that's an MLK next to Malcolm. I'm not entirely sure. But what do I think he is? I don't know. I think he's in Africa somewhere. He's definitely in Africa. He's definitely in Nigeria. Probably Akwa Ibom State, Cross River State. Shout out to my peeps. What is his profession and personal brand? I think he's someone that represents and stands for integrity, and it stands for he's a leader for sure, because you don't just take pictures in front of those leaders without thinking that you are aligned and associated. So, he's a leader. I don't know to what degree, maybe a politician, who knows, but certainly maybe a little corporate-y because of the collared shirt. But someone who likes to dress well, clearly. Shout out Ari Can. What's up, family?
Okay, so check this out. Hold on, I gotta do like
there.
okay, so first of all, claps, right? Like from Nigeria, also from Akwa Ibom, is that how you say it?
Yes, come through, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, but like you totally got that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Is it maybe that's not amazing to me? I felt like that was like really exceptional.
No, so that is one of the reasons why in the talk I say my name is my compass. If I ever get lost, it'll lead me back home. In my culture, we name people and they have various meanings and all those sorts of things. But the name is so unique to a part of Africa that I know that person that's where that person is.
That's like beautiful. And so Erican Kefri, I think is how you would say it, is a Nigerian artist. He studied art at the Federal College. His works have been featured in the Museum of Modern Art, Equatorial Guinea, and several galleries in the U.S., Paris, and Africa. He uses acrylic and oil. He was trained by his father, Emmanuel.
Wow.
He was a renowned artist in Nigeria and Europe. Check out his work. Like, this is
wow. Yes.
Beautiful artist, right?
Yes. And so just further context, I am known to say my name in a very American or British Euro-American accent. So you would say his name, Erican.
Erican. Oh, so it says a little different.
Yes. So I pronounce my name in a way folks would critique is very American.
Oh, interesting. Well, you own that. That's like really beautiful too.
Yes, we can. Yeah. And this style of artistry is kind of very common amongst my ethnic group in southeastern Nigeria. So it's beautiful to see his work, and I can't wait to send him a message on LinkedIn.
I know. I'm like, that's so sweet. Anyways, thank you so much for being here and for sharing. Again, like your wisdom is real, true wisdom, around showing up and for just being such a just a wonderful friend as well. So
yeah, thank you, and to everybody, thank you, Sarah. But especially to everybody out there, everyone listening. First and foremost, keep your head up, trust and believe. Like, start sharing your thoughts and experiences either with your teams or publicly online, but just know that with sharing your voice, you will attract people that connect and engage with you. And through that, you'll build community and leverage that'll hopefully help you inch further and stronger through this time. So feel free to contact me and connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yes, definitely. Find Erican on LinkedIn. Anyways, I've tagged you all over the place. And so and connect, and much love. So talk to you. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope that my conversation with Erican was something that also inspired you as much as it did for me. Next week, I will be talking with my friend Lisa Khan, who is one of the co-founders of Icebreaker.video. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you already know that I'm like, Icebreaker is the greatest. It's just an amazing virtual networking like technology platform that actually like creates a lot of serendipity in meeting new people and making really intimate and like deep connections. And so I'm going to be talking with Eric, not Eric, I just talked with Eric. I'm going to be talking with Lisa about about serendipity in the virtual event space. So I hope you'll join me Wednesday, 2 p.m. PST. Thank you again so much for being here, and I'll talk to you later.